Hello, everyone. We are live doing the Fast Five Live from
Fast Five
Home
Live.
Delivery World.
Yes.
You are listening to the Fast Five that is still today, even at the trade show, brought to you in partnership with Microsoft, the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Takeoff, and Sezzle.
That's right.
As you know and love, the OmniTalk Fast Five podcast is the podcast that we hope makes you feel a little smarter, but most importantly, a little happier each
Yes,
week.
it does.
Too,
Even from
Chris.
Philadelphia.
Today, it's the this is
I know, right?
it's the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month.
I'm totally off the beat, probably.
It is September 1st, 2022. I'm your host, Ann Mazinga.
And I'm Chris Walton.
And we are live from Home Delivery World in Philadelphia. And here once again to discuss all the top headlines making waves in the world of omnichannel and perhaps big and bulky delivery.
That's right. And yes, as you can see in the background, as we've talked about incessantly for the past week, we are at Home Delivery World. It's the last day of the show and we're ready to go. Like we're here, we're live for you, our audience. Thank you for so much for tuning in. To anyone that's watching live, as well as to anyone that happens to listen to the podcast recording after the fact. But Ann, what do you think? What are you thinking of the show, real quick?
Oh man,
quick hot take, Ann.
Hot take. I would say the show has been a little hectic. Like there's so much going on.
Yeah.
There's so much to see. But I've had some really good takeaways, some really good revelations. I think some acceptance overall of like, maybe the way that I think
broadening our minds. Yep.
Are not the only ways. There are other ways to experiment. We talked to Drone Up yesterday.
Drone Up, yeah,
being
it was good.
A prime case for listeners of the show. They'll realize.
Yeah, I walked a tightrope on that one too. In that conversation, the loyal OmniTalk fans will pick up my subtle cues that I was dropping throughout the course of that interview. But yeah, let's get to the show. And no reviews to read this week because we're out at the show. But please do leave us a review if you get a second. Tell us how much you like, or even. Also important, even dislike the show. If you're happen to be listening and you're like, I hated that episode, I don't agree with you at all, let us know. Just rant incessantly on Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to leave us a review.
Yes. Hi, Cami. But it's great to have you on. Since this is a live show, you could also leave a comment in the comments section and tell us what you think. We'll be taking those too throughout the show. But if you are listening to this after the fact, do leave a review on Apple Podcasts, heart the podcast if you're on Spotify or Google, Amazon Music, etc. We really appreciate you taking the time to do that because we will read it one day for all the listeners to hear, and it helps us bring you the most amazing retail content possible.
And helps us keep moving up those ranks, Ann.
Yeah.
Helps us keep moving up those ranks and bringing that content to you. And every difference makes a difference, as we always say.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
we are definitely doing a telethon.
Should we do this show? I know, it feels so different because we've got people flying by behind us.
Yeah,
Some people get really close. Yesterday, actually, we had Ben Franklin show up. Like, legitimately a dude in a Ben Franklin
and the
costume.
Grinch. Like,
that was
Ben Franklin makes sense. We're in Philly. But, like, the Grinch, where was that coming from?
Yeah, the Ben Franklin, I think, was associated with the show The Grinch. I'm not so sure. But today's Fast Five is brought to you with the help and support of our good friends at Grocery Shop. Are you a retailer or brand thinking about attending Grocery Shop this year? Well, don't even think about it without using our promo code specifically for OmniTalk listeners. Just go to groceryshop.com and enter promo code RBOT1950, my favorite promo code of all time. That's RBOT1950 for your special discounted rate. All right, today we've got headlines from Bloomingdales opening a second store under its new Bloomie's banner, Instacart's launch of a new, what it's calling big and bulky product delivery service.
The theme of Home Delivery World, that's for sure.
After moderating a panel on that very topic yesterday. Meta and Geo teaming up to launch grocery delivery via WhatsApp in India. Alta announced introducing a new store layout. But first, we take off with Walmart's new rewards program for Walmart Plus members. Ann.
Yes. All right, Chris. According to Retail Dive, Walmart has launched Walmart Rewards as a new benefit to its Walmart Plus membership. Is this going to happen every week where we're like, and now
I kind of feel like it. That's a great point,
Walmart
actually.
Plus. Okay, shoppers can earn and redeem rewards both in-store and online. For online shoppers, customers can tap the Add Reward option under eligible items on Walmart's site or app to claim the savings and then apply their rewards balance to their purchase at checkout. And when you're redeeming rewards in store, shoppers have to use a QR code that they scan that will be generated through the Walmart Pay app, and they can add those benefits when they use the checkout at payment. Walmart Plus members can track their rewards accumulation through the Rewards Center on the retailer site and app. And all saved rewards or item rewards will have expiration dates. Keynote, meaning customers must buy the item before the reward expires. Chris.
Yes. You're going to start me off again, aren't you?
I'm going to start you off again.
Every time you do that, I'm like, all right, here we go.
Also choosing this question of all the topics for this week to put you on the spot.
All right, let's do it. Because I got a lot to say about this one.
Because just 2 weeks ago, we had David Brown and Abhinav Chandra of A&M on the show. And we were talking at that point again about them, Walmart, including Paramount as part of the Paramount Plus as part of the Walmart Plus benefits. They're wondering if let me start this question over again here. They are wondering
the beauty of going live.
Was it enough to create subscription adoption, and asked what's next for Walmart Plus? Which impact will be bigger for Walmart with this rewards program? Boost to Walmart Plus members or CPG participation in its retail media platform?
Ooh, I love what A&M CRG is insinuating there. I love that question.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. Yeah, I love it because it gets to the heart of the possible motivation behind this whole thing too, which I think is really important. And to me, this is a play for the CPGs, like A&M is alluding to, versus being customer first.
Yes.
Right? Like Sam, I've said this before around this program, but Sam Walton is now officially turning over in his grave, in my opinion, because you're creating two stratas of customers here. Yeah, most definitely you are. Those that want to, those you want to reward that have higher incomes and are willing to pay $100 a year to get Walmart Plus, and those who don't.
Yeah.
Right. And that smacks full in the face of EDLP as a concept at Walmart. And like, why should I have to pay $100 to get these rewards? Like,
I don't know.
There's a part of me when I read this headline, I was kind of like, wait, Walmart doesn't already do this?
Yeah.
Like, there are plenty of other perks programs that you don't have to pay for at competing retailers that do the same thing.
Right.
Why am I making my Walmart Plus customers pay for this, or my Walmart customers pay for this?
I agree.
Which just makes no sense. So that's why A&M's question is so brilliant, because that's the motivation here. It's the retail media network to try to unlock the dollars through this by talking to your most advantageous consumer in your Walmart portfolio for those CPGs. I think it just reeks. I don't like this at all.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think especially when your customers have the option to download apps like Upside, like Fetch Rewards for free.
Right.
They're getting cash that they can deposit into their account that day.
Right.
That's not limited to the Walmart universe. Like, you can obviously, you get cash back on rewards no matter where you're shopping. And I think that makes so much more sense. Like, there's just so many better options for the customer. So I totally agree.
Like, how is this a thing?
This is not a customer thing. I want somebody listening, or if you're listening live, tell us what we're missing here, though, because I feel like somebody at Walmart had to pitch this as some kind of, they're going at it as a customer benefit. They're definitely, we know the CPG angle that A&M is bringing up, which is a smart one, but what is the customer supposed to take? How PR teams at Walmart, what is the plan here to make sense of this for the customer? I also think you bring up the point about how you're getting the most valuable customer here, and you're giving access to the CPGs to that customer. But wouldn't it be more valuable to open this up to all customers and have a wider data set? Like, it's the biggest retailer, the physical retailer in the country.
Which it sounds like they're going to do when you read between the lines, of how they're positioning this. I think they know this is going to be a criticism, is what I read in it. But the point that you bring me back to is when they debuted Walmart Plus, this came under fire too. You're creating a new strata. Yeah. And now you're saying we're going to do it even more.
Right.
It's unfathomable to me.
Yeah. It clearly, it's showing that the way that Walmart is going to try to make money from Walmart Plus is by developing a stream of revenue from CPGs to make Walmart Plus a profitable program, not from actually having customers on the Walmart Plus platform.
And at the end of the day, if that's what you're saying, it's not going to drive consumer adoption. I can get these benefits somewhere else and not pay for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
okay, Chris.
Go ahead.
Good morning to Kelvin C. Kelvin C would like you to take us to the next headline.
All right, we'll do it. All right. Hey, Kelvin C. I like your name. It's so hot. Get it? Kelvin? Got it? You know?
Oh,
yeah. All right.
Oh my God. I can't edit out the jokes this morning.
Meteorology
guys. I'm
joke.
sorry.
All right.
Apologize in advance.
I hope I didn't offend Kelvin, but I'm live here in the moment. All right. Macy's is about to get some rare Chris love on today's podcast. Bloomingdales, which is owned by Macy's, plans to open its second store under the Bloomie's banner. According to Chain Story, the upscale department store retailer second Bloomie's location at Westfield Oak Orchard in Skokie, Illinois. Skokie, and Bloomie's in Skokie. The existing Bloomingdale's store at Old Orchard will close upon the opening of Bloomie's, which is expected to take place at the end of October. And the new 50,000 square foot Bloomie's store, I can't get over saying Bloomie's. I just love saying Bloomie's.
Well, and that you are doing the George loves that. You just
I know I did that totally.
Chris loves
I did
this
that
headline.
totally. That might have been a function of editing pre-show, but the Bloomie's store will open at a new location at the mall. And what do you think of this news?
Okay, I don't know, Chris.
Really? I like. Okay, well, you go first.
I think that this makes sense in a way, because to me it reminds me of like the model that's worked for Nordstrom, and Bloomie's I think is much more comparable to a Nordstrom in terms of like brand offerings.
100%.
And service offerings.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a higher end concept than doing this at like a Macy's, for example. So I think it makes sense to explore this, but I just still am missing like how Bloomie's, like nothing that's coming out here. It just sounds like smaller format. Like they're taking, what was 120,000 3-story mall store, and they're condensing it into 50,000 square feet. But there's still no like talk about how they're going to enhance omni-channel capabilities and how they're investing in the overall customer experience. That, just being good at service is not going to pay off anymore. Clearly, we're seeing that with Nordstrom and what their numbers are coming in right now. Like, I think that 50,000 square feet also still is big.
Right.
Like I the closest thing I think of now when I'm thinking about like this reinvention of the department store is Amazon style. Like Amazon style is only 30,000 square feet. Like Bloomie's, if you're going to really invest in this, how do you really get down to a significant sizing decrease and use the technology that you have at your fingertips, or that the industry has at their fingertips, to really improve the overall shopping experience and keep that in a small footprint, keep your square footage down so that you can be functional and have that impact immediately to your bottom line by not having as much real estate. But
yeah, that's interesting.
Why do you love it so
That's
much?
an interesting point. So I love this, huh? Yeah, you do.
You said that in the beginning.
Yeah,
I
kind of teased
talking.
it, right?
Yeah,
I teased it, right? Yeah, I mean, I think you're bringing up good points though. Like your points about, hey, you're making these new stores. Why don't you make them as advanced from an omnichannel technology perspective as you can?
Right.
Because I think you're right. Like what you read between the lines and what you're saying is like it's a real estate strategy at the end of the day. But I still like it for that reason.
Okay.
And I'd say like not all horses are of the same color. So like it's a smaller version of Bloomingdale's in my mind is not the same thing as a smaller version of a Macy's or a Kohl's.
Why?
And I'll tell you why. And it goes back to real estate. There are damn near 1,000 stores under each of those brands, Macy's and Kohl's. You know how many Bloomingdale's stores there are, Ann?
I don't.
I looked this up. It's really interesting. It's far less than I thought.
Yeah.
According to Chain Storage, 33.
Okay.
So 33 throughout the country. So a smaller version of an upscale experience makes sense because most of the nation likely aspires to shop there and honestly can't.
Okay.
But Kohl's and Macy's, if you have a larger one in your backyard when you're that ubiquitously throughout the country, that's not a desirable thing to then go to a smaller option. You're going to want to go to the place with the largest selection. And so you have the risk of cannibalization there too. So, so I like this because you don't have the cannibalization risk. You're going to get a pretty high return on your assets relative to your existing store base with this strategy that Bloomingdale's is incorporating. So I got to give Jeff Gannett and Macy's a thumbs up on this one, which I have never done, I think, in the history of this show. But I think this makes sense. And to your point, I think it's a good criticism. But I think you can also still do that over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like as you mean, this is only the second one. So they can try to fortify them. Hopefully they take that approach as they go forward to fortify them technologically.
Yeah, I guess I just have concerns about, I forget who we were interviewing the other day, but it was like, when do you get to phase 2? Like, is this going to get killed because it wasn't successful in its first rollout because it was still too big? People, like even having the opportunity to shop at this Bloomie's that they haven't had the opportunity to shop at because the closest one is 150 miles away. Like, you still have to be investing the equivalent of, the new store format and design in technology, I think, for this to truly be successful. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I got a hunch though that first one's working. I just got a hunch.
Okay.
I got a hunch.
Well, we're gonna be down. We're gonna be down. It's in Dallas, right? Or no, I'm thinking of the small format.
I can't remember.
Macy's
I think the small format
Macy's
go.
store. We need to go.
We definitely have to go see that for sure. Yes. But Skokie's not far actually. We could probably hit that in a day. Stay tuned, folks.
Your friend Kelvin said it is really hot.
Nice.
In Singapore.
Yes. Kelvin gets the joke. I love
always
it.
Appreciate when people. Yes. Pander to Chris's
Kelvin,
jokes.
You're my new. I'm now your biggest fan, Kelvin.
Oh All right. Let's go to headline number 3. So, according to Chain Store Age, again, Instacart is launching Big and Bulky, a new fulfillment capability that enables same-day and scheduled delivery for large items that are big and bulky nationwide. Mm-hmm. Big Lots, the Container Store, Office Depot, and Staples are just a few of the retailers who have already signed up to use this service. These retailers and others are now offering same-day delivery of large items such as outdoor furniture, home office supplies, and electronics via the Instacart app. In some cases, Big and Bulky is even offered via retailers' own Instacart-powered websites.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It should also be noted that the fulfillment technology behind Big and Bulky runs on Instacart's Carrot Delivery, an enterprise solution from Instacart that provides end-to-end fulfillment for retailers. Chris, I think you're our resident Big and Bulky expert now after yesterday's panel. So please pontificate on what you think of this new headline from Instacart. From
Instacart. Oh my God, 2 words that have never been said about me in my life: big and bulky. Yeah, but so backstory there that Anne's alluded to. I moderated a panel with 2 cool companies actually yesterday on big and bulky delivery and how it's transforming the industry. Which I think is important. I learned a lot from that discussion. And here's what I'd say about this headline, Anne, and then want to hear what you've got to say as well. Like, I think it makes sense strategically if I'm Instacart, especially as they're trying to add revenue to goose their IPO, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of potentially what's going on here.
I think that's 100% right.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. But I would also say that this is really hard to do well. And as I know from the former head of home furnishings for Target.com, which is all about big and bulky delivery. You're talking sofas, couches.
See, you are the resident expert on big and bulky. I joke, but you actually have experience.
I know relatively more about this than I do some of the things we talk about on a weekly basis. But I mean, some of the issues that come up, right? You have, for example, you have products that are harder to ship, right? Yep. They're big and bulky. That goes without saying. The other thing you have is customers typically need to be home to take these orders, which is an important factor. And then the other part that's really hard with this is when a product arrives and it's not in the condition that the customer expects, that return process is a nightmare.
Yeah, you don't want to be that delivery person.
No, and so the other point I met one of the companies I interviewed yesterday was called Dolly. I interviewed their CEO. They've been trying to basically nationally brand LTL Delivery for the past 7 years.
What's LTL Delivery for the listeners who might not know that?
Basically,
acronym?
It means like when you need you have a non-standard product that you need to deliver in a bigger truck.
Okay.
Right? Than a car or a trunk, like the Instacart DoorDash story or the DoorDash Facebook story we covered a couple weeks ago. This is different. And so they're trying to build a national brand around that. But it shows you that it's really hard. They've been doing it for 7 years and they still haven't accomplished that. Now Instacart's saying, oh, we're suddenly going to do this with all these new complexities. So to me, if I was Instacart, while it makes sense strategically, it wouldn't be where I would focus my revenue and profit driving efforts to goose an IPO right now.
Okay.
Because it's going to take a hell of a long time.
Yeah. I mean, we said we've been hearing tons at this conference at Home Delivery World about the challenges of what you're talking about, of shipping large items, big and bulky delivery. You've been shipping these products for the last 10 years since you were at Target, as you mentioned. But I get the IPO like upcoming and how you expand your offerings and everything, but like this is really hard to do.
Right.
Like,
that's exactly my point.
Why Instacart is taking this on with all of the other things that are out there. Like even if Instacart just said like, hey Meta, we see you're partnering with DoorDash. Do you want to partner with us too? Right. Like just finding other ways, because it's not just about like, I don't know, the gig drivers that they're talking about here. Like that was another thing that occurred to me. Like, do you remember the early days of Uber and like how much longer it took to get an Uber XL? Like now you need the gig workers for Instacart who have larger vehicles to be able to sign up for this kind of thing. And I just don't see that happening. Like with gas prices being what they are, like the average gig worker, I imagine, is like using their most fuel efficient, like fastest, smallest car that they can to like run as many deliveries as they can to make as much money as possible within that hour. Like who's signing up for this service offering as your gig worker? So I think it's going to be a challenge for Instacart to make this profitable.
100%. I think you're hitting on the head. Like actually what it actually makes me think about too is like if you're actually Office Depot or Staples in this headline, I'd actually be questioning your judgment here, because you're right. This is going to be harder than the garden variety thing Instacart does day in and day out. Yes. They don't have the muscle memory on how to do it. There's already profit questions around Instacart. This is going to be a less profitable activity at startup than what you were doing before. It has to be, right? And so it just fundamentally, it just doesn't necessarily make sense. It seems like another stretch or a reach, and probably an indictment on those companies too, because like I said, this company Dolly, they've been doing this for 7 years.
Right.
And he talked all about the training, the intense training they put their drivers through to get the gig workers, to make sure that the truck is up to standard. Like Instacart's going to have to learn how to do all of that.
Yes. Yeah. There's a reason that nobody's touching this with a 10-foot big and bulky delivery.
Yeah, it's really hard, and most of the deliveries are done very decentralized. It's like Joe and John in their truck that are just happen to be contracted by a given retailer to do the delivery. It's crazy. It's a crazy space. All right, let's keep moving. According to TechCrunch, Meta and an e-commerce venture between India's Reliance Retail and Jio platforms are bringing grocery shopping to WhatsApp, and what they said is the first end-to-end shopping experience on the popular instant messaging platform. The launch of Geomart on WhatsApp follows Meta and Geomart beginning to test an integration with select users 2 years ago. I think I remember talking about that, actually.
Yeah, I do too. It sounds familiar.
Customers in India will be able to browse Geomart's entire grocery catalog on WhatsApp, add items to a cart, and make payments via local payments rail UPI without ever leaving the instant messaging service, the companies both said. WhatsApp, it should also be noted, is used by about 500 million Indians each month.
That's crazy.
I know, that's nuts. I put that in there because I thought that was an important context, especially for the U.S. market.
Yeah.
And do you think this is a sign of the future? Do you think we'll all be shopping via text messaging? At some point in time?
I don't know. But I'm gonna go back to what I said at the beginning of this podcast, in that I'm trying not to like remove the possibility that some people will want to shop that way. Do I think it's gonna be like, grocery order, like pick up in store, buy online, pick up in store right away? I don't know. But I do think that it's important, like you noted, 500 million Indians are already using WhatsApp as a day-to-day behavior. And I think that what I'm most curious about is, will they start to shift behavior then of going to, like bell peppers, like where can I get bell peppers, going from Google and now doing that behavior if they can inside WhatsApp, right where but they have open already on their tablet. If you can start search behaviors now in WhatsApp, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say like, yes, this could now be an opportunity for me to build a basket to I think, especially if you can connect this to other friends or family members in that same order, to be able to like just execute those ones and twos like in a quick pickup order for the week. I definitely think that this could be a viable option. And I think this is a great way for the pickers to be communicating then inside WhatsApp as well. Like you already have that open. So instead of having to go to, the Geomart app in order to communicate with them. Yeah. It's like everything's staying all within that one space. And, Asia in general is much more familiar with one app, the super app, to control all of your day-to-day activities. So I don't think it's too far-fetched. I don't know that we'll see this like happening in the US right away, but I do like this. I think it's really cool and something that we should be watching really closely.
Yeah, I like how you think about that. I like how you said it too. I think what you make me think of is kind of like the live streaming conversation that we've had of like why it works in Asia but doesn't necessarily work in the same way over here. I think the context of the country matters, right? And so for me, like I used to think that we'd all be doing this shopping by text message, but now I'm not so sure, because it's so prevalent in India. It's prevalent here, but there are other options here that aren't necessarily as ingrained over in India. So for example, for me, Amazon here, it's going to be really hard to thwart the Amazon find what I want, one click buy. Like that's just such an easy experience.
Yep.
So for text messaging to work long term, it's going to come down to the UX. Like it has to be a really different vision, which I can't even fathom what that is in my mind. But if someone can come up with it, it could happen. But I think it's more likely to happen there than I think it is in the States. And so therefore, from my perspective, as I was thinking about this last night, I wouldn't be investing on the commerce side of it if I was a retailer.
Okay.
I'd be investing it more on the point you brought up, which is how do I create that one-to-one communication connection with my customer on the customer service side of things,
right?
Once I've placed an order, or keeping an ongoing conversation with my customers as well. That's how I would think about this.
In a platform that they already have open. Yeah.
I'd be watching it. I'd be investigating to say, hey, what are they doing with the UX in India as it comes about? And can we learn from that? But yeah, that's how I'd be thinking about it.
All right, Chris, let's go to our last headline. Number 5, Alta plans to introduce a new layout in its stores coming this fall. Ooh. I loved this headline.
I know, yeah.
So according
this
to
could get spicy, everyone. Hold on.
So according to Retail Dive, the company plans to introduce a new front of store presentation in September that will focus on editorial storytelling around trends, events, and new products. Alta's current layout is organized for you, Chris, who I think we've been into an Alta store together a couple of times. But if you don't remember, they currently organize by price point, with prestige makeup brands and other skincare on one side of the store, and then mass makeup and skincare on the other.
Right.
Kind of goes down the center aisle.
Right.
Fragrance is in the middle of the stores, and hair care is in the back.
Right.
This new vision involves consolidating categories, meaning it plans to place mass and prestige together, still with clear brand delineations. How they're going to do that specifically will yet to be seen.
Still to be determined.
Yes, still to be determined. But why are you a little
Oh, you can tell already, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, because I think this is a big nothing burger. This story is an absolute nothing burger. The reason I say that, especially in the realm of like, omni-channel evolution, like, it's your job to merchandise the store to the trends and how people shop.
Fair,
so, okay.
Fair.
I mean, at the end of the day, like if I put my merchant hat on, it just sounds to me like good, better, best merchandising to me.
Okay.
Like that's all it is. And I don't get it, but I'm not the beauty consumer. So this resonated with you. So as the theme of this podcast is just trying to keep an open mind.
Yes.
You did love this. So why did you love it?
I mean, isn't this what retail merchants are supposed to be doing?
Yeah, like, exactly my point.
Yeah, I mean, I think we so following trends is right. I think it's following how we're shopping online and what the physical equivalent of that is in the store. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing, but like merchants should be testing new ways of doing this. So yes, Alta, let's continue that. I think though that this allows for other products to be entered into the universe of consideration. So like say, for example, like green is a trend color. It's like the Pantone color of 2023. Right. I don't know that for sure, but let's just play along with that theory. Like, I think from a shopper's perspective, it's really cool to be able to go in and instead of just seeing the NARS end cap that shows what the NARS green trends look like and that
or
like
what trend
palette
they're
looks
playing
like.
up.
Yeah. And then, Kylie or, the Ulta beauty owned brand. Like, I would love to see one display where it's like, here are all the coolest the top 10 green makeup trends that we have in the store, and giving the opportunity for the associates in the Ulta store too, to be able to speak to that, to take people to it and be like, hey, if you want the budget buy for the NARS eyeshadow, here's the version right here. Like, you have that at your disposal all in one centralized place. Plus, I think once, as we've been talking about supply chain at this conference a lot too, I think it allows when out of stocks happen to quickly be able to put other product in to still capture that sale. Where like which frequently happens with some of the makeup palettes that come out that are limited time offers. Like if that's gone, if that end cap display is gone, like how can you put in and still keep with this theme that's true to how your customers are shopping online is a great way to do this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hear your points. I think you're over attributing it a little too much in terms of what's happening here. I think all of those things could be done in a traditional merchandising setting, especially the reorganizing. But at the end of the day, like if you want to play up a trend story and you think as Ulta, you need to play up your trend stories more in a new way, kudos to you for doing it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's,
let me ask you this as a former merchant. Do you think that it will encourage the retailers Oh God.
Sorry. Whoa, random cough.
Do you think that it will encourage retailers to work differently with the brands that like just to be thinking about these displays differently instead of like brands typically like executing an end cap? Again, we'll use the NARS example where it's like, this is our holiday palette. This is what is included in that. Boom, we just ship this out to every single retailer, versus like, now trying to work with the creative team, like truly create a better store experience.
That's a good point. And I think that's the point that I like about this the most is, and especially in the beauty category, it's always seemed to me that the beauty category is at the behest of the brands. And they are kind of merchandising to what the brands want, which is good and bad in the sense of you get a lot of dollars that way, but you're not always merchandising it to what your customer wants or how your customer wants it to be presented. You're merchandising to what your brand expects you, but that's a middle person. That's not you as the brand. So I think this does free up more the approach does potentially free up more creativity in merchandising for you to tap into what your customers want day in and day out, which is just an axiom that I think every retailer should believe in. And figure out the right balance of that mix between, how it's traditionally been done and how it is going forward. But I think that's a great point.
All right. Well, Alta, we'll be checking out the new displays in store.
Yeah, watch. We'll go in and we'll be like, okay. Yeah, but who knows?
All right. So we're going to get to the lightning round now. Chris, question number 1 is for you. If you find yourself in New York, not too far, a hop, skip, and a jump from here in Philly, which of the following items require that you now be 21 to purchase?
Okay.
Franzia box wine. Pabst Blue Ribbon. Ready Whip.
Okay. Well, I'm going to guess it's Ready Whip because one of those is not like the other.
You are right. You now need to show an ID that you are 21 or older to consume Ready Whip, to purchase and consume Ready Whip in New York.
How does one actually consume a whippet, by the way? I actually don't know the answer to that.
We are not legally able to talk
We're
about
not able to talk about that on that podcast. Okay, can you tell me later? Because I actually don't know. I feel like very naive right now.
We'll have a little heart to heart.
I don't know why I'm assuming you know that, but if you can help me with that, I think it'd be good. All right. All right, let's keep going. New Jersey recently banned shopping bags, both paper and plastic. I've heard a lot about this at the conference, actually, like people in the halls talking about this. So people are resorting to stealing the little plastic hand baskets, like legitimately, like it's causing a ton of problems for these retailers. And my question to you is, what % of your grocery shopping trips are hand baskets versus carts?
Oh, I would say 90% hand basket.
Really?
Because I'm
so shocked.
I only do the infill trips, like the quick, like we need these few things.
Mr. Army Talk does the Costco run,
He does the Costco stock up weekly. So I'm just going for like the things that Costco doesn't have, basically, which usually fit in a hand basket.
Yeah.
But I'm not stealing them.
Yeah, right. No, you're not. Yeah, that's true. Mine are probably like 50 hand basket, 50 nothing, I think, actually.
You're just juggling them.
Yeah, right. It's usually like, hey, kids, you take this, I take this. We're going in quick.
Oh, my God. Don't drop the melon.
Get her done.
All right, Chris. Panera is piloting voice AI ordering tech called Tori that will now take orders at its select New York locations. Again, in New York. What's the last thing you ordered at Panera, and when was that?
First of all, why do all these things need names? Like,
I don't know. It makes them more human,
more
I guess.
catchy for marketing. I don't know. I just don't get it.
The latter.
That's really the answer, right? You're not going to believe this, but back in 2009, 2010, I was running the baby department at Target.
Timeline. Yep.
I religiously ate at Panera every day.
That does not surprise
me. And it was
a
tuna sandwich every single day. And then once it just stopped, and I never went back. So overate it.
Okay. Good. I'm going to remember that when we have our next discussion about the Panera coffee subscription and the fact that you haven't been there since 2000.
Ooh, good dig, Ann. Damn, that one burned. All right. A man aptly named Cinderfella, something I never thought I'd say on this podcast, plans to set a Guinness World Record by paddling an 846-pound pumpkin down the Missouri River for a total of 38 miles.
We got to do a deep dive on gourd density and how that's possible for a pumpkin that heavy.
There's actually pictures of him in the pumpkin.
God, I just don't
wading
understand
down the river.
Physics of that. Okay.
So my question to you is, what is the most memorable thing you have ever done with a pumpkin?
Okay, Chris is coming up with all kinds of ideas. I'm sure, based on your Ready Whip It question, that you're expecting me to say something totally inappropriate that I've done with a pumpkin. But I'm actually going to say something very sweet. And my most memorable pumpkin memory is going to a cooking class with my now deceased grandmother, who
Oh,
I
geez.
loved and adored, and we made a pumpkin lentil soup that was her
Aw.
favorite. So that's the best thing I've done with the pumpkin.
That is amazing.
I know.
Ann. God,
Don't
I can't
cry.
even use your out of your gourd joke that I was going to use. It just didn't work. But
well, Cinderfella's out of his gourd.
Cinderfella is out of his gourd. Actually,
he will be out. He's in his
gourd. Yeah, I hope he stays in his gourd. All right, so it looks like we got some questions from the audience too. Let's do some audience participation right now.
Cammy wants to say that we're right on about the text messaging question that we were talking about with Geomart, and she said that when in the U.S. we in the U.S. are using text, iMessage more comparing to people in Asian cultures or countries. She said most of my family and friends in Southeast Asia are using WhatsApp and Line to communicate, which I think plays into that earlier question of like, does this become more collaborative in ordering and communication with your shopper.
Yeah.
And then Kelvin also is dropping back in to say, related to the Alta story, just read the article. NARS drops NFTs to mark its 20th anniversary in Hong Kong retail. So we gotta dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, gotta dig into that.
Thank you so much to everybody for participating in the show today. Please leave your comments again and reviews in Apple Podcasts and wherever you're listening to this today.
Yeah, that wraps us up, and we got to give our happy birthdays today to Zendaya, Gloria Estefan, and Anne. And believe it or not, the woman who can take all of me, Lily Tomlin. What? And remember, you can only read or listen to one.
In the like Lily Tomlin from the Giant Chair, or are we talking like Grace and Frankie?
She was in the movie All of Me.
Oh yeah. Which Lily Tomlin though? I'm saying like.
No, it's the joke. The joke is lost. Oh. She's in the movie All of Me. It's like my favorite movie. It's like my second favorite movie.
So you don't really want Lily Tomlin to take all of you? Just clarifying.
No, I don't.
Okay.
But she can take all of me in that movie.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does to people who understand the movie All of Me. Yes.
We are crashing and burning as we speak. All right. Remember, if you can only read or listen to one retail blog in the business, make it OmniTalk. Our Fast 5 podcast is the quickest, fastest rundown of all the week's top news, and our twice weekly newsletter tells you the top 5 things you need to know each day, and also features special content exclusive to us, and it's just for you. We try really hard to make it fit within the preview pane of your inbox. You can sign up today at www.omnitalk.blog. Thanks as always for listening in. Please remember to like and leave us a review wherever you happen to listen to your podcast or on YouTube. And remember to use our promo code RBOT1950 to register for Grocery Shop, which is only 2 weeks away. Roughly.
It is.
That's RBOT1950. Ann and I will be there. We are now moderating multiple panels on stage and doing live streams throughout the show.
You're going to be sick of hearing us from Grocery Shop because we have so much coming at you, but it's really exciting. We can't wait.
Yeah. So from all of us at OmniTalk Retail, as always, be careful out there. Live from home delivery world.
The OmniTalk Fast 5 is a Microsoft-sponsored podcast. Microsoft Cloud for Retail connects your customers, your people, and your data across the shopper journey, delivering personalized experiences and operational excellence. It is also brought to you in association with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group. The A&M Consumer and Retail Group is a management consulting firm that tackles the most complex challenges and advances its clients, people, and communities toward their maximum potential. CRG brings the experience, tools, and operator-like pragmatism to help retailers and consumer products companies be on the right side of disruption. And Takeoff. Takeoff is transforming grocery by empowering grocers to thrive online. The key is micro-fulfillment, small robotic fulfillment centers that can be leveraged at a hyper-local scale. Takeoff also offers a robust software suite so grocers can seamlessly integrate their robotic solution into their existing businesses. To learn more, visit takeoff.com. And Sezzle. Sezzle is an innovative buy now, pay later solution that allows shoppers to split purchases into 4 interest-free payments over 6 weeks. To learn more, visit Sezzle.com.